So what is going on, guys? I am BlackOpsAmazing. Welcome back to another zombies video. Thank you once again for tuning in, and today we are going to be talking about something that has been happening within our zombies storyline. Over Origins, the Eisendrache, the Giant, Zetsubou no Shima, Garad Kurovi, all of these zombies maps, we have been stuck in a loop. We have been stuck in a continued cycle, which has been sending us back to the very beginning. And since we've now had more evidence of this in the Takio's Memories trailer, I thought this would be a good time to make a video on all of this and just explain what's really going on. So hopefully you enjoy the video. So to fully understand this, we need to go back to the beginning, but before I do, I'm going to quickly go over something that we've recently seen in the Takio's Memories trailer. In the background behind him, we see a few different scenes playing clips and videos. Some of these are just still images of, for example, Zetsubou no Shima, the Eisendrache, but they also actually show our characters killing each other. But this isn't, as you know, the first time we've seen this. We've previously seen our characters kill each other in the Zetsubou no Shima music trailer, where Takio seemed to have killed our other characters. And now once again, in Takio's Memories, we see our characters all fighting against one another and dying. Yet, as we know and we see in the game, we play them, they are perfectly fine, they are still alive. So what truly is going on? Well, if you take a look at the Memories trailer, you can see in one scene, Richthofen is on fire. He is burning alive. In another scene, Takio is kind of holding our characters ransom. In another scene, he slays down Richthofen as he falls to the floor. In another scene, we see Dempsey beating up Nikolai and then Dempsey pointing a gun at Nikolai as well. And we have a few other things. So as you can see, our characters are all fighting against one another. But as I stated, when we come to play the game, we are still alive. Our characters are perfectly fine. They all seem to be getting along, so what's really happening? Now, I believe there are two reasons behind this. The first one is what other people have said, which is this is all a big hallucination of Takio's. We know we had hallucinations in Zetsubou no Shima as part of just little Easter eggs that you could do around the map, which would show things that actually aren't there to scare you. And they have said that maybe these visions, maybe these things we are seeing behind Takio of our characters killing each other are just hallucinations that he has been having, and this never really happened. But actually we have enough evidence now and enough things to point out that actually I believe this did take place, and we have enough points to make to say that this did actually happen. Our characters did die. They did all fight against one another. These events actually took place. And this is because, as I said at the beginning of the video, we are stuck in a time loop. Each of our separate maps are in a cycle, but this whole zombie storyline together is one big loop. Origins is the beginning, Revelations is the end. Or is it? To fully understand this better, Mob of the Dead is a great example. As we know, our four inmates in that map, just like our premise characters, were stuck in a loop. They were stuck in a continued cycle. The four inmates were sent back to New Year's Eve 1933 to Alcatraz Island and were stuck in a time loop. And the only way for them to escape was for them to break the cycle, which meant the Weasel getting revenge on the other four characters for killing him. In Origins, Samantha tells us that we have been here many times before, that we have attempted to save her before, we have done all of this, we attempted to open the portal, but somewhere along the line, something failed.
You don't even remember how long this has been going on. How long we have been trapped here.
And because of that failure, the loop continued and we got sent back to the very beginning. And this happened multiple times, but every time we keep getting sent back to the start of the map, our characters don't seem to remember what previously happened. And as we see in Garad Kurovi, Eisendrache, Zetsubou no Shima, our characters have been to these locations before. We've attempted to kill Dempsey 1.0, we attempted to take down Nikolai in his mech suit in Garad Kurovi. Our characters have done this, we don't know, hundreds, tens, maybe a couple of times before. From these little clips that we see behind Takio in his Memories trailer, our characters failed. And they failed because, as you see, they died. In order for the plan to be successful, to complete it, for them to break the cycle and continue on to the next mission, onto the next map, the characters need to successfully complete whatever they are going about to do. In this instance, it is killing the O1 characters. And if one of those dies along the way, then obviously the plan cannot be completed. These characters all need to be alive for them to continue, and if one dies, or as we see in the trailer, they all end up killing each other, then the plan fails, the cycle will continue, and they keep getting sent back over and over to the start of that map until they do it right. So as far as we know, we could have been to Garad Kurovi, the Eisendrache, Zetsubou no Shima tens, hundreds of times before. But our characters only seem to remember this one time that they are doing things. When they get sent back, it's almost like their memory gets erased of previous events, what they did previously on this map. What is happening once again kind of reminds me of Mob of the Dead. We have our 4 inmates who, at one time, were friends. Outside of the prison, before they got imprisoned, they were all very good friends. They all worked in the same mob. They then got found out, caught and arrested, imprisoned on the island, and together, or should I say the Weasel Moor, came up with a plan to escape the prison. The other 3 characters agreed with him. They all managed to break out of their cells, but it seemed after they had left their cells, the Weasel's plan broke down. He didn't know what to do next. This left the other 3 characters frustrated and they ended up killing him. But as you see, at one time they were all very good friends until something went wrong and they then ended up killing Arlington. And then we come over to our premise characters. You see, they are all good friends. I wouldn't say they are very good friends, but as we progress through our zombie storyline, they all seem to kind of care about each other or, help one another out. The trust is beginning to grow as we progress through our zombies map, so you could say they are friends. That's what I'd call them, because they definitely seem to be acting like that at this point we are at right now, at least. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, we have these friends, and just like in Mob of the Dead, something seems to have happened between them. Whether Richtofen's plan didn't go as he wanted it to, something failed. This left Nikolai, Takeo and Dempsey frustrated, so they ended up killing Richtofen. I mean, in one scene you see Dempsey beating up Nikolai, so maybe Nikolai in some way offended Dempsey. He's a very proud American, so I don't know, he could have got a bit touchy about America or something like that. But for some reason, Dempsey lashed out and decided to beat up and most probably kill Nikolai. This, because the characters died, caused the plan to fail, and they keep getting sent back over and over again until they are all alive and have successfully completed the mission. So that is what I believe is happening when you see these characters dying in the cutscenes. These events did actually take place. This is all part of the cycle, but our characters don't bring it up because they can't remember it. But what's interesting is something we hear Nikolai say in The Giant. Before we get onto that, just also remember that we see the same thing happening in the Zetsubou no Shima music trailer where Takeo kills our characters. Once again, because we are stuck in this cycle, this event really did happen. So in The Giant, Nikolai recorded a radio for his future self. And when Nikolai goes to The Giant and finds his radio, this is what he hears from his self. It says,
"It is not all bad news, Nikolai. We may have failed in our mission, but at least there is now one less Richtofen to deal with. If it is any consolation, tell him that the first one is the hardest. I should know. I've killed at least 3 Richtofens. There was the one in the fire, the one with the boat hook, and the one... What? No one told me. Sorry. Forget what I just said. Everything will be fine."
There's not all bad news, Nikolai. We may have failed in our mission, but at least there is now one less Richtofen to deal with. And note this is interesting because Nikolai first off mentions that he has failed a mission, and then he also says, but at least there's now one less Richtofen to deal with. And this, I believe, links directly into what I've just been talking about, which is to do with the whole zombie storyline being in a big cycle. In order for the cycle to continue, the plan must fail, and as Nikolai says, he failed. But now there is at least one less Richtofen to deal with. He goes on to say, if there's any consolation, tell him that the first one is the hardest. I should know I've killed at least 3 Richtofens. At the time as to when this radio came out, we didn't fully understand it, but now, this to me pretty much links directly into the loop. This for me gives us evidence that this loop is taking place. We've seen our characters in these videos all kill one another, but when we play them in the game, they are still alive. We have been to Gorod many times, but the times that we went there before, we failed the mission because the characters ended up dying. Nikolai says we may have failed our mission, indicating that he has been to the Giant before, but the time that he did, he failed. And this is because, as he said, there is now one less Richtofen to deal with. Simply saying, he killed Richtofen. He killed Richtofen, and so has now failed his mission. Now, there's nothing in here to say that this is linked into the Giant. He could have killed Richtofen in another map previous to this. We know before the Giant, the characters were missing for 2 years. The only thing I could argue with that is the fact that we know the characters separated, so Richtofen was away from the group. We never saw them. So if it was a map before the Giants, even though we know they went to multiple places, this was without Richtofen, so how could they have killed him? Or in this case, how could Nikolai have killed him? But Nikolai finishes with saying, I should know. I've killed at least 3 Richtofens. There was the one in the fire, the one with the boat hook, and the one what? No one told me, sorry, forget what I just said, everything will be fine. So at the end of that, it's almost like someone tells Nikolai that he can't be saying this to his future self. I mean, we don't know who he's talking to. Could it be Dr. Monty, since we know he is this all-powerful god? And saying that, could it be Dr. Monty, who was the one who was sending our characters back to the very beginning? Could he be the one who's controlling this cycle? That we don't know. I'm not going to talk more about that because we don't have any points to make on it. But the interesting thing is, Nikolai says he has killed a Richthofen in the fire. And what do we see in the Takio's Memories trailer? We see Richthofen burning. This could be a direct link. This video, what we are seeing here of Richthofen on fire, could be exactly what Nikolai is talking about. Nikolai could have done this for Richthofen, set him alight, and as he says, he has killed him. So as you can see, the whole zombie storyline is one massive loop. Also notice in Gorod Kurovi, the premise version of Nikolai gets shot. He doesn't die because he gets shot in his metal vest, but what's strange is he already had a bullet hole in that specific location before. In fact, when we first got introduced to Nikolai over in Origins, he already had this bullet hole in his metal vest. Now, is it just a coincidence that we come up to Gorod Kurovi, Nikolai gets shot, but the bullet hits him in the exact location as to where he previously had a bullet hole? I don't think so. I think this is evidence of the cycle happening. Nikolai previously in a cycle try did get up to this exact point. He tried to kill his O1 version before. His O1 version, just as we see, managed to shoot Nikolai, but some other event must have gone down, happened in a previous try that we don't see happen this time. Maybe it was that Nikolai got shot for a second time in a different location, which caused him to die, and because Nikolai died, the cycle goes over again, the cycle continues. He got sent back to the beginning and had to retry over and over again. But the only thing I have with that is we see this bullet hole in his vest from Origins. Origins happened a long time ago. If we are stuck in this cycle, wouldn't it make sense for our character to just get sent back to the very beginning of Gorod Kurovi, of that map? But from the looks of it, Nikolai got sent back all the way to the very beginning, which was Origins. I mean, it could just be a coincidence, but I think this is evidence of the cycle. Nikolai before attempted to kill his O1 version. Nikolai, that time, got shot in his chest, which is why we see the bullet hole at the same place, but Nikolai must have somehow died in his previous try, and so got sent back, and this time, even though he gets shot in his vest, manages to kill his O1 version and also stay alive. But now we are coming to Revelations. Revelations, as we know, is the end. It is the end of our zombie storyline. As far as we know, this could be the very last map for zombies. I mean, I hope not. Leave a like if you think we should be getting more zombies maps or a new zombies game from Treyarch after Black Ops 3. Like I said, Revelations is the end. Origins was the beginning. We know already we have quite a few links between the two maps. Origins, the font of the title is the same as the Revelations font, but what's more important, Origins, just like everything else, is in a cycle, and Samantha says that Origins is the beginning of the end of the beginning. And if that's true, if Origins is the beginning of the end and Revelations is the end, then really Revelations is the beginning and Origins is the end. As we know, before Revelations, loads of stuff happened that we don't really know about, that we didn't see. Richthofen had these blood vials before we played Origins, which means some event must have gone down before this that is crucial to our zombie storyline. How awesome would it be if we got some kind of twist at the end of Revelations where we found out that somehow after Revelations, or maybe in a cutscene at the end, we see the cutscene for the beginning of Origins, or the one of the two children in the house, or somehow we see that Revelations is before Origins. If we have Origins, which is the beginning of our loop, that's the very first map, or, you know, the earliest date we have Revelations, which we know is going to be the end. It is DLC for the last zombies map we know we are getting so far. We then progress through our zombie storylines, so Richthofen went from Origins to unknown places. He went to Shadows of Evil, The Giant, Der Eisendrache, Zetsubo no Shima, Gorod Kurovi, and then finally Revelations, which is the end. If our zombie storyline is stuck in a loop, what happens when you get to the end? You simply go back to the very beginning, because it is a cycle. If you are at the end, which is Revelations, and the cycle is going to continue, then you would simply get resent back to the beginning of the cycle to start over again, which would be Origins. I feel some big twist coming from Treyarch. One of these, obviously, we'll just have to wait to see, but I thought this would be a cool little video to make, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. A lot of thought has gone into this to try to not get anything wrong, but as always, I hope you have enjoyed. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel for more zombies videos. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.